All right, everyone. I'm going to give you a quick, well, I say quick, it may take a little bit longer than a quick tour of what's been going on at the house here. We have almost, and I say almost, got the upstairs finished. It's not 100% yet, but it is getting there. Maybe a couple more weeks, and we should have it done, hopefully, if everything goes to plan. Just to start it off, I was just showing you that I had my Makita saw out. This is what I've been hanging all the trim upstairs. Believe it or not, the house has knew about everything but had no kind of crown molding upstairs. So I don't know what happened. They did a lot of nice finished trim work downstairs, but upstairs they just didn't do much of anything. When it comes to trim work, there was no chair rail, no crown molding. So anyway, we're going to walk through the house and I'm going to kind of give you a step by step of what we've done so far. And let's get started. Shut this down. So as you can see here, we still have some drawers out, some molding in the floor, some hardwood oak flooring. This particular oak flooring, as you see down here now, will be going in the girls' room because apparently when the house was built back in the 60s, let's do the whole house with oak flooring. But let's not do the kitchen over here, or let's not do the room above the kitchen. So anyway, there's some things that I wanted to change as far as that went. There was some blue carpet up here, so we ripped all that out. Now we've got some hardwood floors under there, and then what I've got to do is put that hardwood flooring here you see stacked in that room. So let's start off with the pickets here. Now the steps obviously are not finished. Now this is a beautiful runner here. It just does not match anything that we've done so far because of the colors that we chose. There was a burgundy flowery wallpaper going all the way up and down that wall there. And then the bottom under the chair rail here was just painted kind of like you see here. So there was a wallpaper going all the way up, if you want to see there, to where you now see my crown molding that I've hung up there. All right, we have not yet painted the back of the treads yet because we're still going up and down the stairs, so it's no need to really paint it till we get finished. But we have done the pickets here. We put 2 coats after we sanded them. This one here looks like some kind of dog had bit into it, so I've tried to build it up. I've still got to work on that one to get it finished up nicely. Now let's talk about the chair rail for a second. Believe it or not, if you try to go to Lowe's or to a supply house that in a small town like where we're in, you cannot find this chair rail. All right, so I tried to buy some to match it and I was not satisfied with it. But shout outs to my wife at this moment because she was like, hey, we're going to tear down that stuff in the kitchen. Why not just use that chair rail in there? And she was right, man. I mean, sometimes, we're over here working and we think we know what's going on, but the wife's a little bit smarter than I am when it came to that, because that, number one, saved us money. Well, it didn't really save me money because I went out and bought chair rail and it didn't work out. But it could have saved me money had I asked her opinion first before I just started doing it. So shout out again to my wife on that. Now this chair rail, as we're walking up, you'll notice it's kind of wide. It may not look this wide in the video, but it is kind of wide. It's somewhere around 3 inches. The reason it is because there's one piece here. And believe it or not, this is just a code molding sitting on top of it. I did not know that until I got to taking it apart in the kitchen. So what you're gonna see when we get up here is that I've started putting the chair rail up, right? Now, if you just take this little code piece out, and I just went and bought new because the other just kind of tore up, you'll see that this is what it was. And fancy those contractors back in the 60s, they said, hey, we'll put up some code molding on top of it and make it look a little better. So obviously I want to prime this wood. Then I want to paint it some. So when we're going down this edge, it'll make it a little bit easier here. Okay, so that's why it's just sitting up there. I actually just got through fitting it. But this whole hallway had no kind of chair rail. And I'll be honest with you, it looks a lot better now that we got the chair rail here. It actually looks finished. So we went with a Benjamin Moore gray paint, and I'm not 100% sure what the name of that gray paint is on top. And then the bottom paint was also a Benjamin Moore, and it's also a gray paint. So the bottom is Nightingale, I do believe, if that's correct. The only reason we ended up with the Nightingale because we're using the Benjamin Moore Regal paint, matte finish, and that Benjamin Moore Regal paint was $20. And if anybody's bought Benjamin Moore paint, it's not cheap. The Regal is actually really good. So it's about $55 to $60 a gallon here in town, but it's actually painting real good. So I knew we wanted to go with some sort of gray. So we actually picked up this Nightingale before we actually picked the top part out. And again, I don't remember what that top color is, but I'm sure I can find it. So let's talk about the closet here. All these closets and all this molding here was painted with an oil base, okay? So when we first started painting this stuff, we just kind of lightly hit it with a sander, not really hitting it very well. And when we got in here and started messing around, we noticed that like the paint started peeling. So this door casing here has been completely stripped and sanded after we had put 3 coats of paint on it. And it's been reprimed, and now it's been coated again with 3 coats. So has this door frame here. All right. Now, I wanted to continue on with this because this is the door frame that we did before we primed. And this room here is actually a door frame that we did before we primed and sanded really well. But the paint wasn't peeling, and I'm going to take my chance on that. I may regret that down the road. But for right now, we're just trying to, get in this thing because we've been working on this upstairs for almost 2 months, probably going on 3 months. And we've done a lot of work. A lot of the neighbors are asking, why haven't you moved in? What's going on? Did you know the house was in this bad of shape? And I was like, look, the house wasn't in bad shape. It's just we wanted to do some modern upgrades. So again, this house was built somewhere in the 60s, I think about 63 or 67, something like that. It had, when we bought it, just to talk about the lights for a minute, it had one light where you see this smoke detector here or a carbon monoxide detector here. It had one dangling light hanging there, and that was it. So we kind of come in here and we cut in holes and lights, and we put in flush mounted LED trims with the cans that are remodel cans that I picked up from my local supply house, City Electric. All right. Now, we actually come up here, me and my brother-in-law, shout out to my brother-in-law, we actually rewired this whole upstairs, okay? So the only thing that has not been rewired would be, and we set a junction box, these are 3-ways here. So we have this motion sensor to come on because we have 4 small kids, as some of you may know. And at night, they like to come get in the bed sometimes, just like all little kids do. And we wanted them to, if they had to go to the bathroom or, just scared, once they come out or out of the rooms here, the motion light will automatically trip on these lights here. Okay, now I have them set for kind of like 30 minutes right now because we're working, and every time we get over here and start working, the light would go out. So usually in about 30 minutes, somebody has walked through and reset the timer on this motion switch. But we put in motion switches right here. We put in a 3-way switch. We rewired it up into the attic into a junction box, but we were not able to replace the 3-way that's back down here. Okay, but the wire, it's fine. It just has that cloth wiring. Being an electrician, I do not like to have the cloth wiring in the house. And with the attic being mostly open, that's what I decided to do. So this here is the master suite, okay? Now, what you can see here is that this room is pretty much finished other than being cleaned up. Now, we put in the new Simonton windows. I do have windows downstairs that I have not put in yet. But these windows were the 5500 series. I didn't realize when I bought them, they were the lower end of the Simonton windows. But the windows are still structurally fine. They're still, visually, they look okay, you know. I went with the middle grade Simonton windows downstairs like I have at my current house, and I'm actually more satisfied with them. But when I, again, bought these windows, I did not realize that they were the lower end. So what you'll see here is that we come in this house and we put in the can lights also here. So 4 can lights kind of off the wall, about 2.5 foot, and then about 3 foot out from the other walls. This had just one light in here, so the room was very dark. We had to put a ceiling fan box up so I could hang that ceiling fan there. The ceiling fan, the one thing I do not like about that ceiling fan is that it is on a remote. So I don't know if you guys have a problem with keeping up remotes at your house, but we have that problem in our house. So that is the one thing I told my wife I'm going to have to do is probably super glue that remote to the wall somewhere. Again, just the receptacles, we went in and everywhere there was a single receptacle. I come and put a old work box in, and I put in quads. So you'll see that this actual receptacle here on both sides has a USB receptacle, and that's because the bed will most likely be on this wall, and with the bed being on that wall, it really doesn't fit anywhere else, and you can have your little charger there. So all you have to do is keep up with the cord for the charger. Now, if they made a receptacle where the cord came out and plugged in and stayed in there, I would have bought that, because, you know, we're always arguing about who took the charger. So each side gets their own USB charger. It's another receptacle down here that we put in. Then all the lights are on dimmers here, and I do like to have dim light. Okay, now you can set the dimmers to where they'll dim a little bit lower than this. This is full open, this is down here. Now that vent there is the actual supply vent for the AC. I am going to take that down and try to sand it off and spray paint it with some white spray paint to get it looking better. Those I was going to replace, they were like 45 to 50 bucks a piece because there's some sort of commercial grade. I did not want to pay that. All right. So again, one more thing that we did in here is I think it was a switch here, but anyway, we upgraded all the wiring through the whole upstairs, and that's on a 3-way, so it connects to a switch that's here in this closet we'll talk about in a minute. We did wire in our smoke detectors and carbon monoxide, so every room gets a smoke detector, so if they beep off, they'll all beep up here. I'm actually going to do that for all 3 levels of the house, because this is the upstairs, then we have a main floor, and then we have a full basement on one side of the house. All right, now what you'll see here, these are the doors that some of the paint was peeling on. So we've gone in and I sanded them real good. The other side of this door is actually finished. We decided to lay it down, take the hinges off, sand it really, really good. And hopefully this time we won't have any problem. Now these baffle doors here, they look better now that we've done them. They actually look really good. Thanks to a shout out to my Uncle Gary, who's been helping me. He's been number one help with the painting. He's actually done a lot, if not most of this painting. I've helped him do some of it, but he's done what you see with the crisp clear lines. That's been his deal. So if you look down the sides there, you know, for the most part, I mean, he painted this just by hand, no taping, nothing like that. So again, shout out to my Uncle Gary, and I appreciate all the help. These baffle doors, he's been about ready to quit because of these baffle doors here. They are very, very difficult, but he's got them looking good. All right. So I don't know if I can, see if I can flip this a little bit so you can see it. But you can see that we painted that side. The doors actually look 100% better because we took them down and sanded them. Now we did sand some of these other doors, but we sanded them while they were on the hinge, trying to save time. And really, downstairs, we're going to take it all apart and sand it just like this so we get a better finish. Master closet here. You saw the drawers downstairs. The reason they're downstairs is the plywood was like this, unfinished. So I have gone and put some polyurethane high gloss on it because obviously with these built-ins here, you know, you're going to be putting clothes in there and the plywood gets kind of stained and stuff. If you put a high gloss on there, what you're going to find is that it's going to clean a lot easier and it just overall makes a better finish. I love this door casing on these closets and on the rooms here. The door casing's actually 2 pieces. So you got this old style door casing that looks similar to what you'd see today. The biggest difference is it has like what I call a chamfer here. And then this back bend, right, or this back, I think that's what it's called, back bend. It's a backing. So this backing is actually just barely over the edge of this right here. Okay, but it really makes that door casing look really good. You'll see that we're in the process of hanging the molding. I've just got the backer board up for right now. What that is a 1x4. Now, we decided to run the crown. You'll see it in some of the other rooms where this end of the house, the roof line kind of comes into the room. This is a 3-piece crown that I put up in these rooms. So as you can see here, it looks really, really good in my opinion. I tried a smaller casing and with these a smaller crown. With these wide door casings, we actually got a really good look with it. Okay, so obviously this has been caulked and painted with about 3 coats of paint. So it just looks really good. So the first step, I just want to take a video while, this is one of the reasons I decided to do the video. It's just kind of show you the 3 pieces that the molding is actually in. All right, so again, that's the backing. You don't really see the backing on this crown, but if you look, this would be where the backing is, right here where my finger is. So this is a piece of base cap just turned upside down. So you'll see base cap in houses that are older. This is a 1x6 with a base cap on it. This is the same principle. I took a 1x4 because a 1x6 was a little wide with the casings above the window. You'll see we kind of just got a little bitty stripe above the window there. But a 1x6 would have really ate into that. So I did a 1x4 and then I used the 3.5 crown, I think it is. It's 3 and I'm not 100% sure, but it's 3-inch crown. So on this, they don't have any base cap right now, so I'm waiting on some base cap so I can put this up. This room and the bathroom here are the only 2 rooms I have left to finish doing some molding in. Let's see. The Baffle Doors again. You can see the Baffle Doors look really good. I mean, they really do. I'm not a fan of Baffle Doors. I like raised panels, but my uncle really put a number on them. He was about ready to quit, but anyway, we got it done. So the lights here, we painted all the closets with a flat. You know, I just installed like an LED with a case on it. With this being a closet, I decided that when I turn this switch on here, that I wanted that can light and the lights in the closet to come on and off. The reason for that is if I'm in here, I'm gonna be either in this closet or in this drawer or in both. So it wasn't no need to have a switch in each closet. I mean, you could have, but it's just one of those things where I said, hey, we're gonna go on and just have them all come on at one time. Now, inside the drawers here, you can kind of see where I put a high gloss on there. It's about 4 coats. You know, I didn't try to go crazy on it because you're not going to see it, but I did want to get it, you know, smooth or shiny. So just to keep it, you know, keep everything protected well. These 2 last little things here, we're going to get some raised panel doors built for these. I still have the old doors. They were just flat, and same thing here, put raised panel doors. And that's going to dress this closet up really nicely. Now in this bathroom, got a little access in here. I just got through putting up my lights here. I'm gonna put a light over there, so all these little closet areas will have lights. We put windows here, little desk. I'm not sure what we're gonna do with that desk yet. So we just left it. I did put receptacles at each desk. So if we decide that we want to hang a Christmas tree or something like that at Christmas time, we can do that. Stand-up shower, didn't really have to do anything to that. Last homeowner actually had the bottom replaced because it was leaking. So hopefully we're good with that. The light here, we just put another LED trim. We're probably going to change that because they make an LED trim just like that with a speaker in it. And I thought that'd be real cool. Here's some plumbing, some CPVC in here. Not sure why somebody used CPVC on this. I'm sure it was leaking or something happened, but probably going to get this replaced, this CPVC. I just don't trust it. I've had a lot of bad luck with it. Usually if it's in the cold, what happens is it splits. So I'll try to do something other than that, have the plumber do that. Now a light for the switch there, turn that light on. So it makes it real nice. The shower looks kind of claustrophobic, but it does go down, so there's plenty of room in there. I'm not going to replace the tile. I'm going to keep the retro look for now. We've already spent a ton of money just doing paint and doing trim work and windows. So that's one thing we're not going to do right now is do anything with the tile. But once we clean it up, it's going to look really good. We are going to probably change that cabinet, possibly put a double sink there. Not sure if we're going to be able to have the room or not, but if we do, we're going to try to get a double sink in there. Below that light there was just an open hole. So we patched that in, sheetrocked it nice. This had wallpaper all on the whole thing. My wife, my sister, my mom, my uncle, me. I mean, we all got in here and scrubbed on. I don't know why this wallpaper, whoever put this wallpaper up or whatever kind it was, this is the kind of you want in your house if you like wallpaper. Now, I didn't really care for it, but the wallpaper itself was stuck really good. So again, you can just kind of see that I've got my trim, my base board sitting up there, just waiting on my base cap. Now, I probably will hang the crown tomorrow because we do have the crown, so I'll go on and put the crown up there and have that ready. Here we got the light, then we have the light here, and then this would be our fan. So none of these bathrooms had receptacles in them. Now this did have a receptacle, but it was just that receptacle over by the window. All right, so we put in the GFI, and you know, of course, this receptacle and the other two trip out if the GFI. This receptacle and the other two over there trip out if this GFI trips. So I don't know if you can hear that fan, but put a brand new LED fan in there. The fan is a variable speed fan. It was about 250 bucks. It's a Braun, but it's pretty nice. So those are the master suite. Now coming over here, we have not done a whole lot in this bathroom. You can see we've got some primer on it. Now the tile is in really good shape. The only problem is it's teal colored, you know, so we do not want in our budget now to be replacing this, probably one day, but not right now. So what you're seeing is we're trying to figure out how we're gonna do it. So we tried this tan paint, we didn't really like it. This gray was actually a primer, but it was too dark. This is the original color we picked. It was like a seafoam from Benjamin Moore. As you can see, that didn't really work. This seafoam actually made my casing, which is bright white Regal semi-gloss. It actually made my casing look gray. So I was like, that's not gonna work. So we went with this kind of teal color. I think it's gonna work. You know, we put up in this room, I had bought some 2 1/4 or 2 5/8 crown, I think it is. And cause I was like, yeah, this bathroom's kind of small. You don't want the molding to be overwhelming the actual bathroom itself. So what I did was I put in a 2 5/8 big mistake. Again, one of those things where I spent money on stuff, started getting it cut in, and it just looked very tiny. You know, these wide door casings here with that little bitty mold, it just didn't look right. So I had to take that down, and I was like, well, I don't know if I should put the 1x4 and then that. I should have done that, but I did not do it in this room. But it still worked out though. I mean, it's gonna look good. It's got a 3 5/8 crown in it. Again, the light here with the variable speed exhaust fan. The one thing that is kind of cool is when you open the door here, the light comes on. So a motion sensor there. Those things are pretty expensive, but I had gotten some on clearance. All these closets, none of them had any kind of lighting in them. So we painted this with the Benjamin Moore Regal, the Regal white, and these closets are done. Okay, so in here, we just have one switch for the fan and then one switch for this light here. So since the room is kind of dark with just that one light on, we figured it's probably best to just have both these lights come on at the same time. All right, and it was a little bit tough getting this wiring here. Same thing. Now the power comes into this GFI here, which we did not have anything in here, and then it hits this receptacle here. So the GFI trips, that receptacle knocks out. So it does mean go. The bathrooms are tied together, so we have power coming here, and the way I do my receptacles is I pigtail them, if you know what that means. I just run all the power wires together and then pigtail off the receptacle with just one wire. So if you look, you'll just see that there's just one wire hooked to the receptacle versus having two wires, you know. Which in this case, you know, this is the only receptacle in here, so we don't have one down the line. So you would only have one. But in rooms where you have multiple receptacles, I always like to pigtail them. And the reason for that is if for some reason this receptacle were to break, you would lose the receptacles down the line. All right. Now we'll go in here. This is another room in the hall I forgot to mention earlier. I did the crown in here. So the way I did that is I had a step ladder and I leaned it up on this wall right here. And then a friend of mine let me borrow an aluminum walk board. So we laid that aluminum walk board across to the ladder and then had it rest over here on the stairwell. That's how I painted that wall. That's how I tore the wallpaper down that was up there. And that's how I hung that crown molding that's up there. Okay, so again, little box here. One thing I did not mention, a little hiding spot in here for people to hide. You know, the kids like to play hide and seek. This is one of them that I've actually got the bulb in. So just some of my tools here. None of these, again, had plenty of storage in there. That's probably 10 foot by maybe to the edge of that board, maybe 5 foot, 6 foot. And then you still got a little bit back to that insulation there. So another little storage area. The wires are run. I just haven't put the switch in. Okay. So let's go into this room here. What we did, same thing, put can lights in. All right. Painted this room with a Benjamin Moore. It's kind of green looking. It's in the blue family, but really like this color. It's probably my favorite room as far as the color goes. On a dimmer. Switch to new fans, fan boxes, same old story. Now you may be asking, why did you put so many receptacles up high? That's for mounting TVs. Obviously, we're not going to probably have 3 TVs in here, but if we want a TV on this wall, we could do it, or in between the window or here. So this is one of the things we couldn't decide on where we wanted it, so we just put them up everywhere. Okay, so plenty of receptacles. Before, they just had singles everywhere, so we put in the quads. All right, so plenty of receptacles. A little built-in here. Son loves Mario, so my mom picked up some Mario stuff for him. All right, these floors in here, in good shape. Some marks, kind of deep marks. Just had that blue carpet. You'll see it in a minute. And we got all stables up. I think this room is actually just ready to be sanded. Okay, so we're gonna sand it once we get the other room down. And here, another closet. I did come back and add switches in so we can have a light in this closet. I put the switch on the inside because it kind of looked kind of funky over here on the outside. So I put here another USB charge receptacle for one day when the kids get older and got a computer or something or need a USB charge. They'll have one. Some more baffle doors. And then another switch here. All right. I'll probably change out those to motion sensors too. The reason I say that is, if you probably know what I mean, but a lot of times people don't like to turn the lights off, so eat a lot of energy that way. We don't need to be doing that. This is the playroom, okay? Now, I don't know why I have not hung that little cap back on the fan there, but I have not done that. I need to do that. So again, can lights, no smoke detector, crown molding, all right? So none of these rooms had crown. When I talked to my uncle about it, he said, it looks fine. But once you put the crown up, the crown really sets the room off, believe it or not. Now again, there was no lighting over any of the dormers, so we added in lights. Another storage area here. All right, put in another receptacle here, because again, if you decide to put like a Christmas tree or something in the window at Christmas, you can have something to plug it in. Added in receptacles here and here. There were none. There was a receptacle here, single gang. There was a receptacle on this wall, but it was actually back here. So it was a whole lot easier for me to move it here because of the height of the ceiling than it was for me to try to get a wire back in here. So we just moved it down. Now we know where the TV's going, right here on this wall. So playroom. Another closet. This closet too did not have a light in it. I should have put this switch probably on the inside of the closet, but what's done is done. But it would have been nice to have it just right here, so when you open it up, it come on. Then I could have put it on a motion sensor and made it real nice. Some more baffle doors. You can see they've kind of yellowed. The reason for that is they were probably painted with an oil base, and oil base is great, right? But it stinks. It's not very good for the environment. So it kind of yellows over time. So another room, that's the blue carpet there that was throughout the whole house. Not when we bought it, but when the previous owner bought it. All I can say is, what was I thinking? You know, not me, but obviously the people who bought it or put it down. But I got to say, it's not ugly carpet, it just doesn't fit. And the thing is with this carpet though, it's really in good shape because this carpet's probably 30 some years old. All right, hardwood flooring. Got a couple boxes up here because in here, this is the girls' room. I am going to have to put some hardwood flooring down. All right, now I think that's everything in the playroom. Yep. So what was in here was that blue carpet. We couldn't decide whether we wanted to spend money on carpet